restlessness as the sign of a disordered spirit. We're going to focus in on this particular vice in this post. It's about 62 AD. Nero rules in Rome. Seneca, his mentor, has pulled out of political engagement and has retired to private life. A few years later, Seneca will actually commit suicide under the orders of Nero, who accuses him of plotting against him. A few years later, Peter will be martyred in Rome, and that's where he writes 2 Peter from. The passage we're going to look at in this post is the moral letters to Lucilius, Epistolae Morales ad Lucilium, which Seneca wrote just a few years before his death. These fantastic letters, this collection of letters, and you can find them on Wikisources, just type in letters to Lucilium. They're short little, maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs each, about 120 little letters. And here the old Seneca, the experienced philosopher, is writing to a young man with an invitation to virtuous good living. It is also a treatise where Seneca looks deep and hard into his own conscience, seeking out the fundamentals of virtue, perhaps actually against the backdrop of his own failure with Nero. Well, whether Seneca failed or whether Nero failed, probably both. But certainly it's obvious to Seneca now that his main tutee, Nero, is a failure in terms of the virtues that he would have liked to see him. Although this is a long time before the internet was even dreamed of, and therefore the vices that come with the internet were not even in Seneca's most remote imagination. What Seneca actually says here, it speaks in a way which is uncannily prophetic for our days. It speaks about the disordered spirit that comes with restless, superficial engagement. And today, for example, Nicholas Carr, in his famous book, The Shallows, What Internet is Doing to Our Brains, he writes similarly about the consequences of this restless, superficial engagement with sources, in this case with internet. Now, Seneca clearly is not writing about the internet. He is though writing about the vice of restlessness. So here are some excerpts from the letter. I'm just going to read it to you, and then I'll offer up a few comments for us as theological educators in particular. So here's what Seneca writes. Judging by what you write me, and by what I hear, I'm forming a good opinion regarding your future. You do not run hither and thither to distract yourself by changing your abode, for such restlessness is the sign of a disordered spirit. The primary indication to my thinking of a well-ordered mind is a man's ability to remain in one place and linger in his own company. Be careful, however, lest this reading of many authors and books of every sort may tend to make you discursive and unsteady. You must linger among a limited number of master thinkers and digest their works, if you would derive ideas which shall win firm hold in your mind. Everywhere means nowhere. When a person spends all of his time in foreign travel, he ends by having many acquaintances but no friends. And the same thing must hold true of men who seek intimate acquaintance with no single author, but visit them all in a hasty and hurried manner. Food does no good and is not assimilated into the body if it leaves the stomach as soon as it is eaten. Nothing hinders a cure so much as frequent change of medicine. No wound will heal where one salve is tried after another. A plant which is often moved can never grow strong. There is nothing so efficacious that it can be helpful while it is being shifted about. And in reading of many books is distraction. Accordingly, since you cannot read all the books which you may possess, it is enough to possess only as many books as you can read.